Hey, I think this thing is working. Hey everybody, thanks for checking us out. All new episode of the Banter Podcast. I am Kevin, and you might notice a little imbalance in the force here tonight without my co-host, Mr. Tim Herb here. Unfortunately, he couldn't be with us. He got a little tied up tonight. As you may have heard on previous episodes, he has been moving into a new place. But I am joined by Atlanta's own Mr. Tribe One. How are you doing tonight, sir?
I'm doing very, very, very fine, sir. It is my pleasure to be here in
I'm
my
glad we can.
at my house.
I'm glad we can finally make it happen. It's been in the works for quite some time now. So
Quite some time now, yeah.
yeah, I feel a little odd. I feel like I'm manning the helm and I'm not really prepared for it, to be honest. I'm sure this will go terribly, terribly wrong at some point.
Oh,
But
yes. I would feel cheated if it didn't. And in fact, I already feel cheated that the other guy isn't here, who I'm sure is much more.
he's much more charismatic. He's way funnier. He can't grow quite as good a beard as I can. I think that's the only leg up I've got on him. But
All right, never mind. Forget what I said.
but other than that, I think he's better than me in most aspects. So maybe we'll have you back if you're good enough on this episode. We'll decide.
Shit, I didn't know this was a tryout.
So just for those that may not be familiar, I know I had talked about the show I went to last year with MC Chris, and where I really kind of first heard of you. Why don't you? How did you get started? For those who don't know, you are a infamous rapper amongst Atlanta's finest, right? Probably the best rapper to come from Atlanta, right?
Well, definitely Atlanta, definitely the United States, definitely Earth, definitely. No, Thank you, thank you. That is very flattering. I like to think of myself as a good rapper, but literally every rapper thinks they are the best rapper. So don't put too much stock into rappers of themselves.
Which would you say you're better at? Magic? Like Magic the Gathering? Magic, actual magic,
Okay.
rap, or rap magic?
Oh man. Okay. Let's go. Rap Magic, Magic the Gathering,
Okay.
rap, actual magic.
Okay, I like it. I like it. But yeah, so why don't you go a little bit, tell me a little bit about how you kind of got started. That's always what really interests me, is how people get into what their actual, career or profession is. And I think that you've got one of the more interesting stories, and sort of one of those things that we all grow up wanting to aspire to do. So how did Tribe One get to be Tribe One?
Man. It's a long story filled with sighs. What is that? That's a Scott Pilgrim quote that I tried to do, but probably messed up.
Terrible. Terrible.
I started rapping when I was in the 6th grade, when Snoop Dogg's first album came out. And I was in California at the time. I grew up in the Bay Area, so having Snoop on everything was like the biggest thing that could have possibly happened. And
Doing
so
magic, I like that. You're
yeah,
weaving magic into your performance now. It's great. You just need
exactly.
your glitter bombs, and we'll have a little
Yes.
show.
Yeah, I learned as many of the words to the songs on that album as I could, and then would perform it for my friends in the hall at school. And then started writing my own raps, and they were universally terrible, super, super, super awful. But everyone who starts something is not going to be good at it.
Unless you're me. I mean,
Well,
this
yeah.
podcast is pretty fucking great. Granted, that's probably more so to Tim's credit than my own. So.
Well, yeah. I didn't want to say anything. Put it out there. Yeah, I kept doing it and found other people who I thought were good and decided to join them for various seasons. I was in a group in high school called the West Side Union, which was a gangster rap outfit. And there was 7 of us, but I think only 2 or 3 of us actually rapped.
So you guys were like the NSYNC of rap?
Yes. Yes, exactly. Other guys were just background dancers.
I like it.
Yeah, mostly we would get together and smoke weed.
Okay, okay, fair enough. Well, I mean, who didn't in their, adolescence making rap groups in the Bay Area,
That's true. That is true. That's fair. It's a fair point.
Yeah. Speaking of being from the Bay Area, I think some congratulations are in order after San Francisco's defeat or victory, I should say, last night.
Yeah, yeah, that was it was big news, and I certainly was not expecting it after the 12-0 loss the night before.
That's awesome, man. That's great. I
Yeah.
can't say that I've ever successfully been a fan of a team to have ever done anything successfully. So
Really?
between the Netherlands, Clemson, Falcons, Braves, it's never going to happen. I've given up.
Well, I mean, were you a fan in the '90s when the Braves were good?
I was not. I actually wasn't a fan of baseball at all until about 3 years ago whenever I moved to Atlanta. So, yeah, I think that covers the whole story. We go from baby, Tribe 1, to adolescence, Tribe 1, starts a rap group, inevitably gets into drugs and rock and roll, starts his solo career, and becomes the superstar that you are today. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, well, I mean, really, you could have stopped the story at gets into drugs, and it was.
That's what really makes a great rapper, right?
That's true. That's 100% correct.
I think you're well on your way to having your own drink line at this point.
Yeah. Yes. You know what? I would actually love for Unibrew to sponsor me with Fin du Monde.
That's too fancy a beer for me. If I can't, I can't spell it. There's no way I should be drinking it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I'm looking at the label and have no idea how to spell it.
But I figured everybody's going to do the typical, where did you come from? How'd you get started? How did you get to be here? But for me personally, having talked to you several times, I know your love of all things geek, and so I just wanted to talk and shoot the shit with you, if that's cool. And the last time I talked to you, and Tim and I talked about this in the previous episode, which we didn't put on iTunes. Conveniently, it will go on iTunes the same time this episode does, where we talk about.
I'm competing with another episode.
However, crossover, tie-in, if you will, we talked about the Age of Ultron trailer.
Ooh.
Last time I talked to you, you hadn't seen it. I'm assuming you have to have at this point.
Yes.
What were your thoughts?
I have watched it a few times. And I feel bad about having left the house before seeing it. And I've rectified that. I've made it right.
Good deal. Good deal. So what are you thinking? What do you think about that? And I mean, we've got really a lot of Marvel news to talk about in general.
God, there is a lot. Yeah.
A lot as of just 2 days ago. So I guess, what are your thoughts on Avengers as a broad scope now that we know that they're going to do the Avengers Infinity two-part movie? What are your thoughts moving forward with the Marvel Cinematic Universe?
Man, excitement.
Yeah?
Yeah. Marvel, I felt like for the longest time DC was the only there's only two, but that was the one that really had the film and television market really nailed down.
Right.
And Marvel has just 100% completely turned that around, and I think we talked about this last time we talked, is they've taken a chance and really given up and coming directors chances to shine, and they've done that with Guardians of the Galaxy and the X-Men reboot franchise, and putting Joss Whedon on Avengers, I feel like was an inspired choice.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm just excited, man. I think.
So they announced Black Panther, Captain Marvel, Guardians 2. Oh, be still my heart.
Yeah, the two Avengers, Ant-Man, which was already
right.
in the works.
What else was there? There was a couple others. Actually, I have the link pulled up right here. So prepared. There was
Strange?
the
Benedict
Captain
Cumberbatch is going to be Doctor Strange.
Oh yeah, is that confirmed? I know it's been in talks, but is that actually confirmed now?
Thought so. I thought that's what I read. I could be completely off base, but I'm pretty.
Based on this article I'm looking at now, it seems like it's gonna be him. So good deal. Um,
Yeah.
then we've got the Civil War, Captain America 3.
Oh my God, yes. I am so excited about that. That was actually the storyline
Yes.
that got me back into comics.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. That was like, yeah, that was a big deal.
So, what do you think is going to happen as far as like new cast? Do you think they're going to switch up the cast? Would you like to see a new cast, or?
Like, well, I mean, no. No, actually, I think everybody who is currently cast, I feel like is doing really, really great jobs.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, like Jeremy Renner as Hawkeye, like
Ugh.
honestly, before Matt Fraction's Hawkeye, I could not have cared any less about Hawkeye. Like aggressively ambivalent for that character, and yeah, Fraction of course made me care, but then Jeremy Renner I thought did an amazing job.
Right.
Scarlett Johansson is great as Black Widow. They finally got a good Bruce Banner, and that's the important.
Yes.
That was
Yes.
the hard one for them to nail down, and Ruffalo, I think
That's
he got it.
that's probably my biggest disappointment about the Marvel announcements. And you and I talked about this the other night. Like, you've got a Bruce Banner that works, that you've set up in at least, going into next summer, 2 Avengers movies as well as other movies down the line with the Avengers Infinity movies. But no standalone. Like, you've introduced that character in a way that's relatable and brings you into a full-length feature with them, and yet they're not even approaching it. What does that say about that character in particular?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I feel like the Hulk storylines that have worked in comics
Hmm.
or that have been popular are stuff like World War Hulk, which is like an entire
Hmm.
Marvel universe.
Right, right,
And it looks like in the new Avengers, they're bringing in some of that stuff into
right.
the movie with the stuff like the Hulkbuster armor that Tony Stark is wearing.
Oh, that looks so great.
Yeah. Uh, and then there's like Planet Hulk, which, like, I don't think the world at large cares enough about the Hulk for that movie to get made, as awesome
Right,
as it would be.
right,
Um, and then you have like Peter David's run from the late '80s and early '90s with Mister Fix-It, where he's like Gray Hulk
right,
and wearing
right.
the trench coat and like doing detective work or
Yeah.
like cleanup work or whatever. And I just like I
It's like,
don't like
it's like
as
the Ninja
awesome as
Turtles
that
in the
stuff
trench
is.
coats.
Yeah. As awesome and amazing as that stuff is, I don't think he's as established
Right.
beyond Hulk smash in the public perception.
Yeah, I can see that. And honestly, I feel like that's kind of a window, and we see a lot of comic book writers and artists doing that with books now anyway. At least I say that acknowledging the fact that I don't have a huge comic book repertoire, so to speak. But I mean, from the books that I've been reading lately, it's making a lot of characters that were sort of unapproachable or uninteresting, giving them a new face and a new spin on things. Like you said, like Fraction and Hawkeye.
Mhm.
Would Hulk be a great character to take on like that and actually take a book that's more focused on Bruce Banner? I would love to see something like that.
Man, to me, the ultimate, like I'm an emotional guy. I think a lot of people who know me and know who I am know that I'm very sentimental and emotional. I would love to see a story focusing on Bruce Banner where it's like it's him just trying to control his anger and just not doing a very good job.
Oh,
Really
absolutely.
focusing on that because I think, like, to me, that's the core of the character and that's what makes him interesting. And it's the unpredictability and just out of control nature of the Hulk.
Right.
That, I mean, he's cool as a hero. He's, he'll punch shit and he'll tear shit
Yeah,
down.
yeah, yeah.
But like, he shouldn't be a hero. Like the Hulk shouldn't be a
Right,
hero. Hulk
right.
should be a force of nature that this guy's
Yes,
trying to contain.
yes. And that's, I mean, if they approached a Hulk movie the way that they approached a Tony Stark movie, I mean, that was really what Iron Man was. Like, they approached that first Iron Man movie as a Tony Stark movie, first and foremost, and then they wove Iron Man in bits and pieces. And so you really understood Tony Stark and his drives and motivations, and you see far more Tony Stark than you do Iron Man. However, everyone wants to see Hulk. They want to see Hulk. They don't want to see Bruce Banner, and so you end up getting a movie that's just the Hulk, and it doesn't really read well.
No.
God, I would love to. We need to just start this comic book.
Yeah. Seriously, Marvel, give us a call.
At the very least, I think a Tribe 1 track is in order for a Bruce Banner.
Yeah, I should do that. Honestly, and I haven't read it, but I believe it's the current Hulk comic that Mark Waid is writing.
Mhm.
He's also writing Daredevil.
Okay.
Which is cool.
Yes.
What I've heard about it, A, is that it's awesome, and then B, that it sort of works that into the comic where it's about Bruce Banner, and he has acknowledged that the Hulk is something he can't really control, but then he's like given himself over to S.H.I.E.L.D.
Right.
Basically said, when I turn into the Hulk, just point me at something and I'm going to tear the fuck out of it. Which is awesome. Like,
that's awesome. So, speaking of comic books, what are you, again, more props to you. I gave JP his credit when his credit was due whenever he was on the show a couple weeks back, but you and him were pivotal in getting me starting a poll again, and so thank you for that, but aside from...
Sorry.
Yeah, thank you for your apologies as well, because I'm definitely feeling it in my wallet, but what are you really reading right now? What's in your poll, I guess?
It's funny that you ask that, because I happen to be sitting at the table right next to my backlog of comics that I have to read.
Oh, jeez.
This is yeah.
How many weeks is that?
This is this is going back to, when did I leave for, like, August, I think?
Oh, jeez.
And I've whittled down my pull list to maybe like 3 or 4 books a week.
Uh-huh.
Because I know, like, I go out of town and can't catch up, and so this is like me trying to catch up for the last couple of months and utterly failing. But let's go through the list.
Okay.
We got The Wicked and the Divine.
Oh, yes,
Incredible.
definitely. Which, thank God, that got less heady after that. That third issue was just almost unbearable for me.
Which one? That was the one where she goes into the tunnel to see the two gods?
Yeah. I think it was Baphomet was playing, and then after that, she's like interviewing Lucifer, and Lucifer's like rounding off all the names of all the different gods and stuff like that, and it's like, I cannot follow any of this.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's been great.
Yeah. I mean, anytime you have Kieran Gillen and Jamie McKelvey on a book, or either of them independently, like, I'm gonna be there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this is like a dream comic for me. Then we also have She-Hulk.
That just recently got canceled, right?
No, don't tell. No.
No, I really think it did. I think I read that this week that it just got canceled.
Really?
Yeah.
That makes me really sad. This book is awesome. It is super, super great. Yeah.
Do you think that She-Hulk will be in any of the Marvel films? Do you think she even has a chance at being in one?
She-Hulk is... that would be a dream come true. I love She-Hulk so much. Like, it's completely irrational how much I love She-Hulk. She's just such a good character.
So with Marvel really bringing in everyone that they have under their umbrella into the cinematic universe, there are very few that have been left out. Of those few, who would you like to see in a comic, or not in a comic obviously, but in a movie? And who do you think you would want to see, but that you don't think would ever even be possible?
Well, the answer to both of those questions is Devil Dinosaur. Hands down, my favorite comic book character. It's like not even a close for number 2.
Nice.
Yeah. Man. Oh man. Okay, scratch what I said about the Perfect Hulk movie. Scratch that. The Perfect Hulk movie is Hulk goes to the Savage Land and fights Devil Dinosaur. That.
Yes.
Like, no, I will write this for you for free.
Love it. You get Guillermo del Toro behind that, and I'm sold.
Throw in the Thing from the Fantastic Four for good measure.
Yes,
Like
absolutely.
one of those scenes where he gets fed up with the team and like leaves.
Oh, yes,
You know
absolutely.
what? That should be the Hulk movie, and it should be the Fantastic Four movie.
Which, how excited are you for that Fantastic Four movie?
Super, super, super excited. It can't be any worse than the previous two.
I think it might be.
And
Yeah, I think they started and finished filming that movie in all of 3 weeks.
oh god, ugh,
Yeah, should be
does
interesting.
not bode well.
It's really just going to be Modern Family with superpowers.
Honestly, that would be amazing. Actually, my wife is upstairs watching Modern Family right now.
Very nice, very nice.
Yeah. Did you see that they just canceled Fantastic Four comic?
I didn't.
Yeah, that was a thing. Like,
Wow.
yeah, first time.
Wow.
Yeah, like that was. It's crazy. Like, you'd think they would keep that. It is. Yeah, it's depressing, right? That was the book that launched 1,000 comics.
I know it is depressing. However, I feel like I can see through the bullshit. Like, I don't know. I just feel like they keep trying to do things to that book in particular, like killing off the Human Torch. What, 3 or 4 years ago? Like, they're just.
Yeah.
The shitty thing about comic books is they're always going to do something drastic to try to get some sort of upheaval from the fan base to warrant keeping it in print.
Mhm.
But is Fantastic Four going to get that upheaval to warrant bringing it back is the real question, I guess.
Yeah, like the thing is that book hasn't been good since Hickman left it, and man, I just went on about his Hawkeye. Like, I love Matt Fraction to death,
Ugh.
and his run on Fantastic Four, I wasn't into it.
Yeah.
But his FF, the Future Foundation book, I thought was incredible.
Yeah.
And I read a little bit of the run after he left it, the James Robinson reboot,
Mm-hmm.
or not reboot, but relaunch with #1 or whatever, and just, man, I straight up hated it. And that's the current run. And it's not selling very well, and it's, from my first and last impression with it, it's not a good book. And I don't think people care about Fantastic Four anymore, which is sad.
It is. It is really sad. I mean, it'd be like, what else could you really even compare that to? I mean, there's no other really big. You can't even say like canceling Batman or Superman because those aren't really inexorably linked to the rest of the universe. What's that?
It would be like canceling the Justice League.
Yeah.
Like, those characters obviously are still going to exist. Like, the characters are still going to exist in the Marvel Universe. Like, but it's different. I don't know. This is the nostalgic sentimentalist in me. But it'll be different without that book on the stands. Maybe better.
I agree. Yeah.
It maybe will light a fire under Marvel's ass to put like a team on it that's going to revitalize it. Like with Hickman and Eaglesham and his team. Like, that book, man. It was good. So good.
This is always the problem with talking about comic books with other people that are far better read in comic books, is that inevitably I get 5 or 6 different runs or books that I need to go catch up on, and it's impossible. It is absolutely impossible to read everything. So
yeah. Well, just the current run of Fantastic Four, don't
even waste my time.
Don't.
No.
But what you should pick up is Batman 66.
Are you liking that?
Man, it's up and down. It's hit or miss. I'll grant you that. But Yes. Yes, I am loving it. It is the most fun book on the stands. Oh, other than Lumberjanes, which I just picked up and started reading. This book,
Okay.
good God, it's amazing.
I don't. Did you read God Hates Astronauts?
I did. I did.
That first 2 issues were pretty insane. I don't think I've laughed that hard in a comic book in a long time. It's just so over the top and doesn't take itself seriously, and
No.
I can appreciate that so much in a world where everything has to be so serious and downtrodden and,
Yeah.
laced with continuity and backstory and universes and movie tie-ins. Like, that book was such a breath of fresh air that
Yeah.
I really dug it. I think issue 3 should be coming out soon, but yeah, I
Yeah.
liked it.
Did you read the trade that was like a collection of the webcomic?
I didn't. They kickstarted that, right?
I think they did, yeah.
Yeah, JP was telling me about that.
Yeah. I think I might have just got rid of it. But I read it, and I read the first issue, and I actually wasn't a huge fan.
Okay, interesting.
It was
Interesting.
obviously for what it is, and
Right.
that's such a shitty thing to classify or like qualify it as. Like it's a good comic. It's objectively good. It just wasn't my particular cup of tea.
Understandable. Yeah.
But yeah, it's easy to recommend. Like if you want a book to
Right.
that make you laugh, that's gonna be super fun. Yeah, that book is awesome. For my money though, Axe Cop.
What is it?
Axe Cop?
I have not heard of that.
Oh man, yeah. So it's the premise of it is it's exactly what it sounds like. Axe Cop. It's a cop with an axe.
This sounds like a Tim comic book to me.
Yeah. It's drawn by this guy named Ethan Nicolai, I think is how you pronounce it, or Ethan Nickel, or Nicole, who's like this 31-year-old guy from Portland, or he's somewhere in the Pacific Northwest. The book is written entirely by his 7-year-old little brother.
Oh, that is great.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, it's amazing. It started as a webcomic, and then it got super popular, and Dark Horse picked it up and did
That
like
is awesome.
some trades of it. And it actually, I think it's still on Hulu. They adapted it into a TV show with Nick Offerman as the voice of Axe Cop.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
definitely going to have to check that out. Good call.
It's exactly as fun. For me, it's more fun than God Hates Astronauts, which is also a fun book.
Interesting. Yeah, I'll definitely have to check that out. That's awesome.
You gotta check out Axe Cop. It's the best.
So, taking a turn for a more serious note, a book that I know both of us are reading and really enjoying, and not a single person that yes, there it is, Southern Bastards in all its glory. I don't think I've met anyone else that is reading that book and not enjoying every bit of it, especially that first arc. Oh,
God. I have never, ever. You know what? No. Only one other time can I remember being as like physically impacted by a comic as I was by Southern Bastards #4.
so torn too. Yeah, I definitely don't want to spoil it for anybody but that's that's the one book for people. It's like, all right, it's 4 issues in, go pick them up and check it out. Like,
yeah.
But yeah, I've never been so torn with and just grief stricken after 3 issues of a book. Oh my God, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah, to think like it's only 4 issues in and you're having that strong of an emotional reaction.
Yeah.
The only other time I've had a reaction that strong was also a Jason Aaron comic. It was an issue of Scalped.
Okay.
It just fucking gut punched me.
Yeah. He's one of those writers that in a lot of ways Matt Fraction is the same way for me. Like, I read Hawkeye, and then I was like, all right, what the fuck has he written? Because I'm going to read everything now. It's kind of the same thing for Jason Aaron now. It's like, after reading that, it's like, all right, what else is he doing? Oh, he's got a new book, Men of Wrath, coming out. I'm going to pick that shit up. Like, I love having that feel and that emotional attachment to a writer or even an artist sometimes, which
Yeah, oh yeah.
it's hard to get attached
Speaking
to
of
an
artists,
artist though.
Mike, I know you don't. I think you're not a fan of him, but Mike Allred, the guy who does covers for Batman
Oh,
'66,
okay.
and he's the artist on Silver Surfer, which
Oh,
is
I am. I'm definitely a fan. That's the opposite. I'm a fan of the art in Silver Surfer, but not in the writing. Like what Dan Slott's doing is just too meandering for me and not driven and has hints of brilliance and then falls off and just sort of drags on through 6 or 7 issues now. But again, we'll for all of your disdain for God Hates Astronauts, I now have for Silver Surfer.
not disdain per se. It's just
Yeah,
mild distaste.
I got you. Understandable. And I will say, refined, mild distaste myself for the Silver Surfer writing. Oh, God. But, yeah, so other than we try to keep this thing with everything from comic books to movies to video games to music, and I wanted to pick your brain. I can't have such a phenomenal icon in the rap game such as yourself. Oh wait, no, can't get off comics yet. Speaking of fraction, you should have just cut me off before I even said anything. Fucking sex criminals.
Oh my god! Like honestly, if you know anything about comics and you're not reading Sex Criminals, then you are just fucking up, and you need to rectify that. You need to do better.
You need to read Sex Criminals and find an excuse to go to Heroes Con and meet Chip and Matt in person because they're two of the funnest guys I've ever met and so down to earth and personable. Like,
yeah.
Oh God, but
like,
yeah.
Even if you hate comics and sequential art storytelling as a medium, the letters section is endlessly entertaining and worth the cost of admission, which is not.
Absolutely. Yeah, Sex Criminals is fantastic. And it's one of those books that I feel like touches on some of those things that we were talking about before with Hulk and Hawkeye. With you have, the superpowers, quote unquote, within the book, but it touches on all of these very relatable, very human characteristics that everyone goes through and deals with that you don't see in comic books. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you don't see it in storytelling.
Right.
Like, literary fiction is maybe the only place that you can find some of the themes that they touch on.
Which is what I've liked so much about Image lately. Like, honestly, I mean, we talked about Marvel and DC, but I'm pulling far more Image books than I am either of the big two.
Yeah, same.
And it's because of that. I mean, writing stories that I can relate to or get on board with that are approachable, that aren't bogged down in continuity or just a familiar face,
Yeah. I mean, that's what's so cool about the comic scene currently. Like, the indie books have really taken over. People that, are publishing houses like Image and Dark Horse that have been around for a long time, but people are just paying more attention now for whatever reason. I don't know if there's any one particular book that really started it. Maybe it was really, I don't know. I don't know how accurate this is, but Mark Miller's what was the book that was made into a movie with
Kick-Ass?
Not Kick-Ass. Kick-Ass it certainly didn't hurt.
Yeah.
But the one, it's got Angelina Jolie in it. I should know this.
Aeon Flux?
Not Aeon Flux. That was Charlize Theron.
Oh, damn, you're right. Angelina Jolie in a comic book movie?
Yeah, and James McAvoy.
Damn it! I know what you're talking about. Where they bend the bullet.
Yeah.
Oh, what is that movie? Tim's gonna kill me. He references that movie all the time.
Wanted. Yes.
Wanted. That's it.
Shout out to my wife. Shouting me upstairs. Yes, but I feel like that is a perfect example of like what started as an indie comic and then was converted and adapted into a movie, which is actually nothing like the comic. But stuff like that has happened so many times. Like the movie Whiteout was originally a book published by Oni Press by Greg Rucka.
Right.
It was amazing. It's just like it's happened so many times. Oh, what was it? Road to Perdition was a comic before it was a movie.
Really?
Yeah,
I did not know that. God, what a
yeah,
fantastic movie. Oh
yeah.
my God,
Man,
that
I
movie is
saw that movie three
fantastic.
times in the theater.
Oh, dude, that was such a fantastic movie.
Yeah.
Oh, there wasn't a weak link in that movie from
No.
start to
So, man.
finish. And
Yeah.
that wasn't a time where like there were a lot of those types of movies with like huge casts that were in like these. Oh God, so
Yeah,
fantastic.
Jude Law, Paul Newman, Tom Hanks. Like,
Yeah, yeah, and that's not everyone either. There was a couple other people in there
oh
too, I
yeah, there were
believe.
several more.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh God, fantastic.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, b- have you read Low at all?
No, I haven't. I think
Yeah.
you were telling me about that book, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I read the first issue, and I
That's
got a
Rick
very
Remender who's doing. Sorry to cut you off. That's he's doing another one of my favorite books right now, which is Black Science.
right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But yeah,
And I
please,
think
I'm sorry. Go
he's
on.
doing Deadly Class too, right?
He
I
is,
think.
yes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, he's writing it, and I cannot remember the artist. Like how to pronounce it. It's like
Uh,
Tocchini or something like that.
Greg Bikini.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Holy fuck, his art is fantastic. But yeah, I read
Yeah.
the first issue and got a very like BioShock kind of vibe from it, and it was just kind of meh, like really sort of straightforward story. But my God, did that second issue hook me? Like it's very often, I mean, without saying too much, we said something. I think it was you I was talking to whenever you asked me what's it about, and I said, it's really hard to describe what a comic's about, especially if there's only one issue, because once
Yeah.
you say more than two sentences, you've really covered the entire arc of the book. But
Yeah.
again, like going back to these relationships and stories that people can relate to, like far more often than not, you hear like a father-daughter story or a father-son story, or if there are parents involved, or guy-girl story or whatever. But this book takes a turn for a mother-son story, which is sort of unheard of in comics or in storytelling for that matter, as far as I can relate to. And whether it's my own personal, single mom thing that's coming through or whatever, it just grabbed me, and I've really, really
Oh,
enjoyed it. So
okay.
yeah,
So
yeah,
I'm
and
gonna.
I mean, and it does carry a lot of that BioShock like underwater universe sort of theme throughout, but it's not based in that steampunk world really. Like that's not what's driving the story, which I'm really, really enjoying. So,
Word.
but
Yeah. I will
so.
definitely check that out.
So, can we put comics to bed? Because I have rap. We need to talk rap
Okay.
game.
All right. All right. I have to say, I would be remiss. The other comics project that I've been working on is I've been trying to make my way through the entire Hellboy universe,
Oh, do tell.
and I've like have found websites and found like what is the most agreed upon order to read, like Hellboy, BPRD, Lobster Johnson,
Yeah.
Witchfinder, Abe Sapien, all that stuff. So I put a run together like that. I've bought all of the trades, which is like 40,
Yes.
and I'm
So
up
you bought a new
to
bookshelf to go with it, I'm assuming.
yes, yes I did. Got those IKEA like square grid.
Yes.
Takes up a significant chunk of that. Um, I'm like probably not even a quarter of the way through it. And it's oh my god, it's fantastic. So 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 good.
So what all have you read so far?
I've read the first I think 6 Hellboy trades,
Hmm.
and I'm on the 5th or 6th BPRD trade. I've read the first Lobster Johnson, um, and I think that's it right now.
What were your thoughts on the movies?
I only saw the first one,
Hmm.
and that was before I knew anything other than that Hellboy was a comic. I had never
Right.
read any of it.
Right.
Um, I thought Ron Perlman looks enough like Hellboy without the makeup. That's a good casting place. um,
Absolutely.
yeah,
And sounds like you would expect Hellboy to sound.
yeah, yeah. Now that I'm reading the comic, and actually the first movie is on Netflix, and I've been planning to watch. I might actually watch it tonight.
Okay.
The thing that I love about the comics is that Hellboy is just so exhausted. Like he's just
Yeah.
tired of dealing with all of this bullshit. And I'm really curious to know if the movie, and I saw it when it was in the theater, so years and
Right.
years and years ago.
Right.
I'm curious to know if it captures that.
Well, I watched it a couple months ago, both of them, because I'd seen like bits and pieces of them, but never seen either of them all the way through. I will say, the graphics for the most part hold up. There are
Really?
some that are a little wonky, but for the most part they hold up, especially the makeup effects.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, Del Toro
Yeah,
did the
yeah.
second one, right? Or did he do both?
He did both, yeah.
Oh, word. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
Yeah, he's gonna get the makeup stuff right.
yeah, especially with Abraham, he looks fucking awesome. Oh my god, he looks great.
David Hyde Pierce as Abe Sapien. Holy crap! What a
Yeah,
casting!
yeah, yeah.
What a casting!
Fantastic. But yeah, some of the things get a little wonky. I think I enjoyed the second one more so than the first. Again, I think it was just a matter of pacing. Like the first one was really setting up these characters and stuff like that. But yeah, I was really shocked that the visuals overall pretty much held up, which was awesome.
Word. Let me ask you a question. Until recently, like I think within the last couple of years, I guess this is a true or false question, and then explain your answer, sort of thing.
Okay.
Would you or would you not agree with the statement, true or false? Until the last couple of years, Blade 2 or the Blade series was the best comic book movie series that had ever been made.
Ooh.
Like until Iron Man, until the first Iron Man.
Ooh, until Iron Man. That's a good. Hold on. I might need to IMDb this. I need to see timeline here. I would say true.
Now, while you're IMDbing, I'd like to put forth another question. Is how fucking crazy is that we have to think about it? Like there is a real possibility that Blade, the Vampire Hunter,
you're totally
was the
right.
comic book movie out.
You're totally right, man. And I really shit, dude. Yeah, at least 6 years. It's looking like. Nope. I'll give it 3 years. Blade 2. Oh no, 1 year from Blade. Wait. What would you say is best Blade movie?
2, obviously. Like
2.
1 is amazing, but 2 is a masterpiece.
So I will say false, because 1 year later, a little movie called Batman Begins came out.
You know, I wasn't super into Batman Begins.
Really?
Yeah. I only saw it once. And to me, the best Batman movie, up until Dark Knight, obviously, that movie is indisputable. Right. Until Dark Knight, the best Batman movie for my money, other than Batman 66.
Batman and Robin.
Yes, obviously. Clooney. No, my Batman movie was 89, Tim Burton.
Oh, absolutely. I don't think there's any question about that. And Michael Keaton, I need to go fucking see Birdman, immediately. God, yeah. Every day that goes by and I see a little image or a little tweet here or there, I really need to go see that movie immediately. Yeah. But no, I agree. No contest as far as that goes.
Yeah, Tim Burton, so I didn't think Batman Begins was competing on any level with 89, Batman 89.
I would tend to agree with you. However, there were things that threw me off so much about both. And
yeah. I mean, Batman straight up murders a dude in Batman 89.
Right.
Throws him down the bell tower.
Right.
And it's the only black dude in the movie. Just.
But it's the things that make Batman. I mean, aside from who the character is, how the actor portrays him, the writing, so on and so forth. But visually, I think Batman Begins did something, and Christopher Nolan in particular did something to that universe that is unprecedented in comic book movies. I mean, with the exception of a few here or there, like Hellboy, for example, the way that he like took this character and just by taking, you know, the cowl and having it so that he could turn his head without having this floppy fucking cape turn around, and taking and taking exactly, and taking the Scarecrow and what's so integral to that character and making the visuals accompany that, and then like turning that on its head. Like that scene with Batman and Scarecrow when you see the fear toxin, like Crane gets the fear toxin and he sees Batman and his fucking face is melting and it's all like coming out of his mouth, is one of my favorite scenes in a movie of all time. Like that was so fantastic. Like I will say Liam Neeson threw off a great deal of that movie. However, threw up all over that movie.
Oh, no. Yeah.
Liam Neeson was my big issue with that. But Scarecrow, Christian Bale, like that was, and honestly, like that was what allowed Chris Nolan to do this full trilogy, which was really, I mean, it was completely unheard of within that character and in a cinematic universe. So yeah, I would say that.
Okay. I mean, yeah, there's definitely a strong argument to be made. It's not a bad movie by any stretch.
No. And another thing that...
And it's certainly the only thing that was competing with Blade 2.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The other thing is... Batman 89, though fantastic, was already dated by 6 or 7 years before I have any like memory of actually watching it for the first time. So there's a huge disconnect in my childhood association with that movie. And I think that's, I mean, all of our memories of our favorite movies are inexorably linked to where we were in our lives whenever we watched it. And especially with comic book movies, like the fact that if I had been, you know, 12 years old in 89 and went and saw Tim Burton's Batman, no question. I mean, absolutely no question. However, I don't have that association with, you know, going to the movie theater to see, you know, Tim Burton's Batman or, you know, growing up with that kind of stuff. By that time, I had seen it, but it wasn't really a big deal, you know?
Yeah. No, man, it was huge for me. Like, I was, even before the movie came out, I was obsessed. I think I saw commercials for it on TV and was like, Mom, that is it. Like, this is the
it's happening.
Yeah. Like, she bought me the art book. I had action figures.
Yes.
Like everything you could get related to that movie. Like if I didn't have it, I was obsessed with getting it, and it was such a huge deal.
So, top Batman villain, go.
Top Batman villain?
Yes.
Oof. Man, I wish there was another answer other than the Joker.
Oh, you are gonna pull the Joker card. You would do that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan of Chris Sims' writing, who's a writer for Comics Alliance, and he puts forth a strong argument for the KG Beast.
Okay.
Who is? I recommend Googling Chris Sims KG Beast. There are at least a couple of amazing articles on the subject. I mean, Batman, it's hard to pick because Batman has such an amazing rogues gallery.
Absolutely.
Like, there's arguments to be made for all of them.
Right.
Which, unless the exception to that being the Riddler.
Oh, Amber, better never listen to this episode.
and I love, like, don't get me wrong, I love the Riddler. But the Riddler as a villain in comics, not very good. In
Ah,
Batman 66, amazing. Like Frank Gorshin's portrayal informed very much of Jim Carrey's performance,
okay. I will
which
say, although I haven't read it, I've heard good things, and I'm ready to get the hardbound, which I think might have come out this week. Zero Year.
I haven't read it.
Another
I
one.
dropped Snyder's Batman right before that.
Another one I'd like to say, but it's gonna be a little bit of a spoiler. In some ways, oh, fuck, I don't even want to mention it. If you haven't read it by now, who gives a shit? Hush.
Ugh, I
No,
was afraid you would say that.
you're not a fan of Hush?
No.
Really? Really?
Also, Google Chris Sims Batman Hush, and he like lays out all of the reasons
Interesting.
why Hush left a bad taste in my mouth.
Interesting. Interesting.
I am not a fan. Yeah.
Okay. Well then,
I'm not a
mine.
fan of like retconning in general, and Hush was like a big retcon of like Bruce Wayne as a boy, and now all of a sudden, here's this friend that he supposedly had, whose family was like
Right.
families of Waynes.
Right.
Um, objectively, I understand why they do stuff like that. It just never, like, I've yet to see it done in a way that I really like it.
Understandable. Understandable.
Yeah. And that, that's not a super popular opinion. Like, I know a lot of people, like, Hush is very, very popular.
Yeah. Well, I don't think everyone's gonna have, like you said, with a rogues gallery as vast as Batman. I don't think inevitably somebody's gonna love one and hate another, and you can't really go wrong with any of them. Mine, which very few people ever even think about, is Clayface.
Ooh.
Nobody gives Clayface credit whatsoever.
Clayface,
However,
Clayface wasn't his arc, or he was the first villain in the Batman cartoon, wasn't he?
one of them, and that was what turned me onto it. Again, being linked to that childhood experience, like
Yeah.
Batman the Animated Series
Oh my God.
started right whenever I was in that get home from school, watch TV, or Saturday morning cartoons, like that era, of sort
Hmm.
of absorbing all of that stuff, and was such a great experience for kids during that time period, or even adults. Talk about holding up, man. I got all of those DVDs,
Oh
and
yeah,
they're fucking fantastic. Like,
they're super good.
and to have a show that translates so well to action figures and other merchandising outlooks and movies and stuff like that. Like, I go back and like last year I went back and started rewatching a lot of the DVDs and stuff, and like Heart of Ice made me tear up. Like, it's so well done that
Like that is the defining. Like Mr. Freeze before that was a joke.
exactly.
They took that and made it like that is people who had never heard it, like people who read Mr. Freeze for years saw that
Yep.
episode, and it's like, oh, that's who this character is, and they go back and they remember all of the stuff from before that as that version. That's
Yep.
how definitive that. Oh my God, yeah.
Yep.
Oh,
But yeah, Clayface. He was one of the first villains. You're right, in the animated series, and oh my God, Amber actually got me one. They re-released some of the like toys that are inspired by animated series. She got me the toy a couple Christmases ago.
yeah.
But yeah, Clayface doesn't get much credit. However, more recently he has gotten some. I know Snyder had a little bit with him in it in the whenever he first started the New 52. He was in a little bit of Hush. He was in the Batman game, the Arkham City game. Like, fantastic, man. Doesn't get much credit, and honestly, like, the way CGI and stuff is, put him in a fucking movie.
Yeah,
However, one of those that, back to what I was saying before, I don't think would ever really work in a movie. I think it'd be way too hard, and it would just come off kind of gimmicky, like Sandman and in
that's
the
exactly
Spider-Man
what
movie.
Yeah,
Yeah,
not a good, like that was a perfect casting
exactly.
choice, like Thomas Hayden Church
Yeah,
as Sandman Kane Marco, I think is his name.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Amazing. Sandman, awful. Super,
Yes.
super horrible.
It's gonna be tough. I mean, it's tough for. I think Marvel's doing it right, and you're gonna get flops. My thought is, and I said this on the last episode of the podcast. I want a fucking Swamp Thing movie. Is that too much to ask? Like, that is a movie that is very, very much doable. Like,
Very much.
that is a character that has been written by Alan Moore and shown this sort of humanity and character development that we want to see out of a character, while also very doable with practical effects. Like, you don't have to have some crazy CGI engine to make it feasible.
Yeah.
Like,
Shit,
however,
let Guillermo del Toro direct
yeah,
it.
I mean, look at fucking Groot. If Groot can exist, exactly. If Groot can exist, why can't Swamp Thing? Is all I'm saying.
Now, here's a question: did you ever see the old Swamp Thing movies from the '80s?
Oh yeah, we actually talked about that on the last show. I didn't see the movies, but I did grow up with the TV show.
What?
Show. Yeah, there was a TV show that came on. That was like, I used to go to my grandpa's house and we would watch it, and he actually got me a Swamp Thing toy. But I more associate with the TV show that was in the '90s more so than the actual movie, which was in the '80s, which was a little bit outside of my. Oh, look at you go! Look at you go! That is the toy.
Nice.
I'll
A friend of mine, a guy named Kyle, actually brought this to a show for me and gave it to me at a show.
That is awesome.
Yeah, it's super cool. I love it.
I'll do you one better.
Oh, man. Yes.
The New 52. Fantastic.
Yeah. Now, while we're on the subject of toys and action figures, I've been meaning to ask this basically the entire episode. Is that a treasure troll on your desk behind you?
What?
Right.
No. It's not, but those were things that I also grew up with that were fucking awesome. Those and the and Street Sharks. Street Sharks were another one that were big whenever I was growing up. Yeah. But no, these are the Kid Robot, Bebop, and Rocksteady.
Okay.
Word. Yeah.
not as cool as Trolls.
Not as cool as Trolls at all. Oh, not at all. Not at all. However, I now feel like I need to reprise the Troll collection in some way.
Yeah.
I've got enough of them on my Twitter feed, so those will have to do for now. All right, so, question. It is 9:11. We've been doing the show for an hour and 10 minutes now. We normally do hour-long episodes. So, I will leave it up to you whether we progress on to talk Wrath Game, as I must do, or we can table it and revisit it. It's up to you. I mean, I know you got things to do. I personally need to watch Louisville beat FSU at some point tonight. But
is that happening right now?
It is. It started at 7:30. So.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Word. Yeah. The NFL game is on as well.
Who's playing tonight?
I don't know. You should know that. I don't think anybody on my fantasy team. So.
How are you doing in fantasy this year? That's the other funny thing is, like, Tim and I have both done shows with musical guests, and both have brought up their fantasy teams.
Yeah, this is actually my first time ever doing fantasy football.
Okay.
My brother has a league. My brother, who is much cooler than me, has a league that he started with his friends, and I guess somebody dropped, and they needed somebody to add at the last minute.
Him and Tim will have to do a podcast together. It'd probably be way better than this one.
I'm sure that's accurate. But yeah.
So yeah, fantasy. How you doing? You doing all right?
I'm tied for first right now. I've got
gotta like that.
First
Very
time
nice.
ever doing. I attribute it to all the seasons of the league that I've watched.
How good is Rafi in that show?
He's so good. So good. Do you listen to the How Did This Get Made podcast?
I do. I haven't listened to it recently. I've actually been hooked on Doug Loves Movies lately. Have you heard of that?
I need to check that out.
Yeah,
I listen to
it's pretty
nothing but
good.
Magic the Gathering podcast.
Yeah, I do. Doug Loves Movies has been my latest hook. But yeah, How Did This Get Made with Paul Scheer? I have listened to that a
Paul
good bit.
Scheer and Jason Mantzoukas, who plays Raffi.
Right,
And he's
right.
just as entertaining on that as he
Yeah,
is.
yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, I need to
Like,
go back and check that out.
Yeah, I don't think he's playing a character. Like, I think he's just.
I don't either. Well, he plays the same guy in Parks and Rec, basically, which is so great.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. Yeah, he's being typecast.
Yeah.
As
So,
himself.
speaking of primetime television, and comic books, and everything else geek, what have you thought about this fall's latest run of comic book TV shows? Have you watched any of them?
The only one that I'm currently watching is Arrow.
Okay.
And Arrow is another character that I went out of my way to tell people that I did not care about. But I started watching Arrow as something to do while I played Magic the Gathering online late at night. And I am completely hooked. Like,
Nice.
I'm almost done with the first season. I've just been watching it on Netflix.
Uh-huh.
And it's really, really, really good.
That's awesome. Yeah, I definitely want to check it out. That's one of those ones that I have on my backlog, I guess. My pull list, so to speak.
Yeah, I mean, it starts out pretty rough, but if you stick with it, it actually is really, really entertaining and compelling. Which I never thought would be words I would use to describe Green Arrow.
I definitely want to check it out, especially if it ends in the Frank Miller Dark Knight Returns finale. I want to see how the fuck that happens. But of the new ones, I would again, I haven't watched Gotham or The Flash, which The Flash has been getting pretty good reviews from what I've seen. I would recommend checking out Constantine.
I just remembered I watched the first episode of that yesterday and completely didn't hate it.
I dug it. Yeah, I thought it was all right. I mean, there were definitely some parts that I was like, okay, this is kind of corny, but overall, man, there were some pretty good effects and good pacing, and I dug it.
Nana?
Yeah, I dug it. Yeah, Nana scene was fucking crazy.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. That was creepy as fuck.
So yeah, I'm definitely interested to see where that goes. But of those shows rather, I'm definitely interested to see what happens with Constantine. I'm gonna have to double back and check out some of the other ones for sure.
Did you catch in the Constantine pilot the scene where the cop who's transporting the body?
Krog Tunnel?
Yeah, the graffiti tunnel.
Yeah. Krog Tunnel and Edgewood Avenue. Oh yes, laced with Atlanta references. I loved it.
I actually did years and years and years ago from the group that I'm in, the Remnant. Our very first photo shoot we ever did was right there in that tunnel. So I've got very strong emotional ties to that place.
Nice. Well, did you hear about the big uproar lately with the Krog Tunnel?
No.
Apparently, some event organizer planned a masquerade ball in the tunnel and did not get well received by the local artist community or the neighborhood association, so therefore the artists took it upon themselves to go and buff the entire tunnel the night before the event. So they painted the entire thing white. So this masquerade ball was held in just a plain white Krog tunnel.
That is incredible. Wow.
Yeah.
I remember I saw one random tweet. I don't think it was you. You might have retweeted it or something, but it was something like, this is not supporting Atlanta local arts. This is
Yeah.
like taking advantage of it. And then
Right.
I went and I read about what was happening. I was like, yeah, this person is right. This is
Yeah.
absolutely taking advantage of the local scene. Um, but holy crap, that's
Yeah. Yeah.
fantastic. That's amazing.
Gotta love that, right?
Yeah. Like the sort of organization that it would take to do that.
It took
Impressive
Twitter,
all by
and now
itself.
it took Twitter, a prominent local artist, and a hashtag to get hundreds of people out into Krog Tunnel to completely buff it the night before the event.
You know who it was? It was Catland. It was Catland that I saw
Yeah.
tweet that.
Yeah. That was really who started the whole thing. Another side story, JP and several others, including myself, are all a part of this Twitter account, which we made up as an artist, a local artist, and who creates art by chewed pieces of gum that are found around the city. And
Okay.
we made a joke that this said artist was commissioned to do the Krog Tunnel artwork installation, in which caught fire and was mentioned on several Facebook accounts that this completely fake artist, which makes art of chewed gum, was going to be doing this huge installation in the Krog Tunnel now that it had been buffed.
Wow.
Yes.
So, I mean, you're gonna do it, right?
Oh yeah, we definitely did it.
Sweet. Sweet. I would like
So,
just one lone piece of gum sitting on a
no, just
completely white wall.
gobs of it.
Oh man, that's so many feet of bubble tape.
Oh gosh, so many in Big League Chew, just in wads. Did you dip Big League Chew like it was actual chewing tobacco? And it's just
Not in the front, but I definitely did it on the side.
nice. That's the way to roll. That's the way to roll.
That was and when in Little League when I was a kid, that was like you weren't legit. Like you didn't play baseball until you were dipping Big League Chew.
I grew up in rural South Carolina. Most kids during minor league, or not minor league, Pee Wee League, were actually dipping tobacco at that age. Oh man. So, all right.
Yeah.
All right. Let's get serious here. We gotta talk rap game. Where's the game at? Where are we headed? Where's Tribe One headed? What can we expect to see out of you? I know you got a lot of projects going on. I know Malibu Shark Attack was my album of the year so far. However, it may have just got upended by a very worthy contender, also in the rap game, which we can
know what
also
you're going to say, and I'm not even mad at it.
But you have been a very busy man this year, and I would be remiss if we didn't at least give you at least your due to let us know what you got going on and where you're headed lately.
I'm actually like Malibu Shark Attack related news, I guess.
Yeah.
Rocky just started sending me new songs to write to and to work on.
Oh, that's awesome, man.
Yeah, a new project is underway. Like we haven't yet decided if it's going to be an EP as a teaser to the next album or if we're just going to like do the next album.
Yeah.
But we're definitely working on new stuff. But with the last album, we found out about a month ago or so, we got nominated for the Northern Irish Music Prize.
Oh yeah, congratulations! That's right.
Thank you. And like that's incredible. Like we're actually like an album, a rap album that I wrote the words to.
That's incredible,
being
man.
voted on by a panel of judges as the best album to come out of Northern Ireland in the year 2014. Cool. The funny I've listened to at least 3 or 4 of the other albums that are on the list. They're all incredible. So I mean, obviously it's an honor to be included on the list.
No, dude, everybody I've talked to since that album dropped, I've said go check it out. Like, not even. I also said before I started the show, I was not going to stroke your ego too much. So I'm going to
No, please
say,
keep it coming.
I'm going to
Keep it
say
coming.
your award is bullshit and the album is kind of all right.
That's fair. That's fair.
No, in all honesty, man, congratulations. That's incredible news. And so
It's
when
really
will you guys find out?
the award ceremony is being held November 15th.
Oh, awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And can people, so is it being voted on by like a jury, or can people go vote for it or anything? Or
No, it's a jury.
okay.
It's a jury vote. So it's like not that like public vote isn't official, but like it's got that sort of, you know.
It's official. Like
Yeah,
people,
it's official.
people
Yeah.
aren't spamming a website to get the votes up. Like people are actually having to listen to it, talk about it, and cast a ballot to make it happen. No, that's legit, dude. That's awesome.
People who decide good music are being made to listen to my music. There is
awesome.
a chance that my music is good. Yeah. So yeah, that's just been, it's been weird to process and to think about.
Yeah.
Like never in a million years. But here we are.
Yeah. So speaking of Malibu Shark Attack, what else? I mean, where can people get some merch? What else do you got coming out from that album, man? I need more. I need merch. I need T-shirts. I need music videos. I need vinyl. What else? What else? I mean, when can we expect all of this stuff to be coming out?
You see, sorry, sidetrack. JP just tweeted, I can confirm that Kevin would not shut up about the album once it drops. Oh, man. That's good. That's good.
That is good.
But yeah, so I actually just recently put out a new EP, just as Tribe One.
Yeah.
It's called Crisis on Intimate Earths, and it's on my Bandcamp page, which is tribe1.bandcamp.com. And easily the best thing about it is the cover, which was done by an artist out of Charleston, South Carolina, named Sketchy McDrawpants.
Nice.
Yeah, he's a great dude, lovely family, and an amazing artist.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was kind enough to make time in his schedule to do my album artwork, with songs on it about Batman and Superman and video games and comics and
Gambit.
Yes, Gambit and Rogue. There's a love song dedicated to
Yep.
Gambit and Rogue.
Yep.
There is a
Dirty South Swamp Thing making another appearance.
Yeah. That song was supposed to be on my first album, or first EP, which is actually called Dirty South Swamp Thing.
That's what threw me off. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, it was supposed to be on there, but I didn't get it written in time. So the way it worked out is it ended up on this EP.
No.
Yeah, you can ask anybody that I've ever worked with. I am literally the slowest writer in the history of writing.
Slowest writer, however, one of the fastest rappers. I will say, you spit mad game on Bad Motherfucker on the Malibu Shark Attack album. Good God, man. Well done. Well done.
Thank you.
So, I tried to...
I like performing that song too.
What's that?
So I love performing that song too. It's really, really fun.
So what's been your... I mean, obviously you're going to have to play biased here, but what's been your favorite show that you've done, or your favorite place that you've played at?
Oh, man. Crap. Am I allowed to say all of them?
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. I'll let you do it. You can tell me offline. I'll tweet it out later.
Well, yeah. No, I mean, I've had such a good time in so many places.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just been, it's super crazy. like people, like I don't know. I'm very fortunate because
Yeah.
a lot of people and touring musicians don't have as good of a time on the road as I do. Which is not to say like I'm great, which I am. It's not what I'm saying, although I just said it.
Neither am I. You're okay, I guess.
I've just been really fortunate. You
Right.
know, I've had a lot of good times in a lot of places. Um,
So what are you listening to now? What's inspiring Tribe One right now?
well, the album that we talked about before, the new Run the Jewels record,
Yep, that just topped Malibu Shark Attack.
and that's fine. That's totally fine. That's fair.
Honestly, though, I would say that. However, they are very, very different. They're different animals. Aside from rap being at the core, their
Mm.
approach to the genre is very, very different. And so
They're
it's hard.
very aggressive. They're not quite angry. They're assertive.
They're very NWA in my opinion, like in a lot of ways. Like
Yeah.
they're NWA with like
The attitude is identical.
exactly, exactly. That attitude and that fire and that sort of hunger that comes into
Yeah.
rap that I really, really appreciate. That,
Yeah.
and not to mention their beats are fucking phenomenal.
Well,
Like,
that's because LP is amazing.
good God.
Yeah. Like LP. I don't know if you like. Are you how well informed or like how? There's no way to ask this question without being a douchebag. How deep does your knowledge go in like underground rap history?
Um, Not that deep. I mean, I know bits and pieces, but not much. But yeah, I know like yeah, I actually just started listening to Run the Jewels like earlier this week.
Oh, weird. Okay.
Yeah. So no, you're not being demeaning at all.
Word.
I'm gonna go
Okay.
ahead and
Yeah.
drop you from
Totally.
the I'm gonna go ahead and drop you from the podcast though.
Okay. Cool. No, like LP. LP basically started indie rap with his original album that came out in 1997. He was in a group called Company Flow,
Okay.
which was put out by Raucous Records, which is the label
Uh-huh.
that first put out the like Black Star, which is Mos Def and Talib Kweli. They
Oh
put out
yes.
people,
Oh
yeah,
God, I do love me some Black Star.
yeah. They put out like my introduction to indie rap was Lyricist Lounge Volume One, which is a double album. First time I ever heard people like Punchline and Wordsworth, Thurston Howell III. Um, Jurassic 5 was the first time I heard them, like Rascas and OC, and a bunch of like really, really formative names. It was
Yeah.
also the first time I heard Mos Def,
Yeah.
um, and Tash from the Alcoholics, and that was a year or two after they put out Company Flow's record, which really kick-started, not in the modern sense of indie rap, because before that it was what was on the radio, what was coming out on
Right.
Interscope, uh, Geffen, and the big rap labels,
Right. Right.
and he just like it. He's been around doing stuff for almost 20 years now, and I've had arguments with people. Like I have a good friend who disagrees with me vociferously about the fact that the first Company Flow album is called Fun Crusher Plus, while being historically important and fascinating, is a terrible, terrible album to listen to at 14. It's and yeah, but he's like over the years he's just gotten so much better, and he's been good for a really, really long time.
Which I mean, I feel like that's what it takes. Is honestly like you have to. It's tough whenever you're in a position to want to maintain that sort of hunger and that fire in what you're doing while maintaining, like, you want to maintain that, but it becomes increasingly harder to do that as you get recognition. I mean, granted, I'm not saying that they're, like you said, they're not huge Interscope record multi-platinum selling artists, but it's very hard to maintain that, to balance that sound and that quality while still growing and gaining momentum and success. And
Yeah.
so, and without building on that, I mean, where are you as far as, I mean, that's the definition of passion, And so whenever you see that,
Yeah.
and it comes across in what's actually being put out. So that's what really hooked me. Granted, I didn't know all of that stuff going into listening to this Run the Jewels album.
Yeah, and you don't have to. Like, it's just straight up an amazing record.
Right, but you can tell, like, it's in the same way that, like, you can listen to, an MC Chris album now, or Gambino, like that Freaks and Geeks or something like that, like, where you don't have to necessarily know how they got from point A to point B, but you know where they are now, and it's taken, like, that refinement and that growing process, and it comes through in the finished product in such a way that, like, they're still humble and hungry about it, that it comes through in every bit of it, and that's what really ultimately hooks me on what I've been listening to so far. So
yeah, and it's just so obvious, like, he's having fun with it.
Right.
Both of them are.
Right.
That's something that, honestly, I think has been missing from, a good chunk of his career, because he raps a lot about being angry and disenfranchised and stuff like that on previous records, but on both of the Run the Jewels records and the guest spots he's done since, it's all about, just being fucking awesome.
Right.
And just, it's just so easy to tell that they're having a good time doing it. I actually went and saw them live in Charleston.
And I'm really jealous, because they're playing in Atlanta next week. They play on Tuesday, the night that I fly out to Dallas for work, and then they play Dallas Thursday, the night that I fucking fly back to Atlanta.
I literally cannot believe that is happening. And make no mistake, it is happening to you.
I know. This is definitely a tactic. However, I will see MC Chris and MC Lars coming up in a couple weeks, which I'm pretty excited about.
Yep, I'm going to be at that show.
So, is there anything that we should be on the lookout? I mean, obviously, you said a new Malibu Shark Attack album sometime in the future. It's in the works. Anything else you want to maybe plug or anything like that?
I guess if you haven't listened to stuff, all of my music is up on Bandcamp, so go to tribe1.bandcamp.com. I have a couple of shows coming up. I'm going to be at NecoCon in Virginia Beach, November 7th through the 9th.
Nice.
And I'm going to be in New York on November 14th. And I'm actually playing a show in Atlanta on the 19th.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, I'm going to be one of the performers in the Scene Missing showcase, which is... Have you ever been to that?
I haven't.
It's super, super fun. It's like a variety show, and they pick a theme every month.
Oh, that's awesome.
They play movie trailers based on the theme.
Okay.
And then they have like different performers come up and do 7 minutes of like writing, comedy, music.
Oh, very nice, very nice.
All kind of stuff for 7 minutes, and so I'm going to be one of those contributors. And the theme of this one is Batman, which is perfect.
Yes, that'll definitely be something to go to. Where's that going to be at?
It's at the Highland Inn Ballroom Lounge.
Okay, very cool. Yeah, we'll have to. I'll definitely have to check that out. Where can people? I'm assuming you're all over the internet, like you said, Bandcamp. I know Malibu Shark Attack is on Spotify.
Yes.
Where can they find you at on Twitter?
I'm on Twitter at Tribe11. This is TRIBEONEWON.
I appreciate a man that has to spell out his Twitter handle because I get so much flack for it. You can find me as well at the_ARC1TECT. Man, this has been an absolute blast. We'll have to have you back on with Tim. We'll get JP on here. We'll talk comics and video games and everything in between. We didn't even get to Fat Kid Cookbook tonight. But yeah, man, it's been an absolute blast. Everybody, go check out Tribe One stuff. I can't say enough good things. Thanks again for coming on the show. Be sure to throw up a rating on the iTunes page. Give us a shout out, and thanks again for checking us out. Oh God, I don't know how to end this thing.
It's just let it go forever. Eventually, people will stop watching. Maybe.
I hope that stays in.